I started the show on mute. Typical. But anyway, welcome back to Big Blue in the Bronx YouTube channel, everybody. We got a large panel tonight. Hopefully, a lot of people join in, but I do want to get the panel started. So let's start off with welcoming our panel. I'll start off with Mr. Jimmy Randazzo. You guys know Jimmy, and if you don't know Jimmy, then how the hell do you not know Jimmy? He's famous on Twitter, and he's very much a viral Yankee fan. Obviously, loves handing out shirts to the community and stuff like that. Then we got the co-host of S&V Sports, former member of the panel.
Hello.
Then we got someone who's very much into prospects, and I don't know who doesn't know prospects better than this guy. That's Mr. Dayne Huber of NYYU. And then finally, we'll cap it off with Sir Luca here on the panel. But I guess we'll get it started right away. Also, just to promote them, their links are in the description, so please follow them. I know Jimmy has a little thing going on that if you follow the Twitter, you'll get entered in for a contest for a free T-shirt and stuff like that. But with that being said, I'll start with Sean first, and then I'll go to Jimmy, and then I'll go to Dayne, and then I'll go to Luca. Sean, your first thoughts.
All right. Well, first off, I'm very happy to be back. It's been a very long time. For those who don't remember, or for the OGs that have been around on Alex and Luca's stream for a while, I used to do the show with them. I'm very happy to be back. Just started up a new podcast called S&V Sports. Again, link in the description. We talk baseball, football, basketball, and wrestling. So if you're interested in that, please check that out. Otherwise, I'm just ready for baseball. I can't believe we're already a week away from the first spring training game. I can't wait.
So you're rocking the Staten Island Yankees.
Yes, I am.
Staten Island Yankees. But what's going on, Jimmy?
Hey guys, how are you? Excited to be here tonight. Yeah, go follow the Twitter account, Alex's Twitter account. Giving away a T-shirt for the fans, Drew Houston shirt. So go do it over there. Jimmy Randazzo on Twitter. Other than that, I think I have a YouTube channel, Jimmy Randazzo Show. Other than that, I'm here to talk ball with the boys. Ready, fired up for what we have, like 40 days till opening day. Fired up, excited to be here, and just ready to talk ball with the boys.
And I think a week from today, the Yankees play their first spring training game, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
what Sean alluded to.
Yeah, they play the Tigers next Saturday. First home game next Sunday.
It's getting started right before our eyes. But Dayne, what's going on, man?
How are you guys doing? I'm Dayne from NYYU. I also do a show on YankeesFarm with my co-host Carlos from YankeesFarm. So come check us out on NYYU and YankeesFarm. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the rest of the panel, obviously besides Alex, Jimmy, Sean, and Dayne for coming on. Welcome to the chat. What's up to the chat? Hope all is well with everybody. Baseball season is finally here. We're closing in, as Sean mentioned, a week away from the first spring training game. Personally, there's a little more intrigue with this team than last season. That's probably highlighted around the fact that the Yankees made two big acquisitions with Juan Soto and Alex Verdugo. Obviously, we'll get into the other moves they made, but I think there's more intrigue with this team, and I think there's more reasons to be excited.
Yeah, definitely. So, Luca, if you want to start us off with the segments, remember, guys, all of the stuff, I know Jacob's putting out the Twitter and stuff right now, but also in the description is where I put these guys' links. Like, subscribe, and share, do all the good stuff. This channel is trying to make its way to 2,000, obviously 1,900 first. But Luca, start us off with the elephant in the room move, the biggest move of baseball offseason, not even just the Yankees offseason.
This took a couple of days during winter meetings. Obviously, the winter meetings at one point were halted due to some sicknesses among front office members. But anyways, the biggest move the Yankees made this offseason was acquiring superstar outfielder Juan Soto. And also in the deal, they've acquired Trent Grisham. They also acquired Verdugo, but we're solely focusing on Juan Soto. They acquired Soto and Grisham. They traded away Drew Thorpe, Michael King, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, and Kyle Higashioka. So, Alex, who should go first on the panel? Their thoughts on the deal. Alex, you'll make that selection.
Yeah, so I'll start out with first thoughts, and then we'll talk about how it impacts the lineup. And I guess we could kind of slurve Alex Verdugo into this one. By the way, shouts to Chris for the $1.99 super chat. He is one of the guys who tweets on the YankeesPod Twitter, and he's also in here a lot, giving the super chats. What's up to Park Street Raise Me and everybody in the chat. But Jimmy, you're a very energetic Yankee fan. What was your first reaction to the Juan Soto trade and everything that went down?
I'm ecstatic. Obviously, don't love to lose Michael King, but when you're getting a top 10 hitter in baseball, arguably a top 3 hitter in baseball, I mean, you just wave goodbye to a guy who's going to give you 120 innings to Michael King. Over at YankeesPod, our thoughts are hug your girl, not your prospects. So goodbye. I'm sorry. I was doing a little research. I know somebody's is all about the farm, but we're a YankeesPod. Hug your girl, not your prospects. It is what it is. Like Michael King, bye. Everybody else, bye. Vasquez, bye. Everyone. They got a best hitter. They got one of the best hitters in baseball on a short porch. Obviously, it's an A+ trade because I mean he's so dominant from the left side.
Sean.
So obviously, I love the deal. I've been wanting the Yankees to get Soto for the longest time. But this deal also kind of scares me a little bit. And the reason I say that is because this could only be a 1-year thing. We don't know the extent of how long he could be here. What I like about it, first and foremost, I feel like it should give the Yankees a little sense of urgency of, all right, well, we might only have this guy for a year. It truly has to be World Series or bust. I know that should already be the standard, but it hasn't felt that way over the last couple of years. So I hope that kind of gives them that little boost to say, hey, we might only have this guy for a year. We need to make it count. And that's why I was hoping the Yankees could do a little bit more pitching-wise, but we'll get to that later. But I like the deal, but it does scare me a little bit in the long run, especially if it does not work out.
What scares you, though?
What scares me is if we don't succeed and Soto's gone after the season.
Michael
That's what
King's
makes me nervous.
In 2 years. So they really just lost out on Michael King. And, I mean, listen, Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito do not win you playoff games.
Oh, I agree. I
think
Drew
it's a very
Thorpe probably would,
calculated
though.
risk. What's up?
Drew Thorpe probably would, though. He was a MLB pitcher of the year, 2nd-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's special. But to get Juan Soto, you give him up all day, every day, and don't think twice about it. The rest of the pitchers, that's a testament to the Yankees pitching development. If you didn't sign Randy Vasquez for $10,000 and develop him into the pitcher he was, you wouldn't have Juan Soto. Same thing with Johnny Brito, $35,000 signing. Developed him into Juan Soto. It was a great move to get Soto. We lacked left-handed hitting and an on-base percentage all year. That was the move that they needed to make, and they got it done.
Very, very good analysis, straight to the point. I may also add maybe one of a part of Luca's heart, and Sean went with that trade because remember we did meet Randy Vasquez a few years ago.
Yes, we did.
Over in Brooklyn. But nonetheless, Luca, your first thoughts when all the stuff went down.
Yeah, I was just going to add something on Sean's point. I don't think Sean's concerned about what we gave up. More rather, it's the ability to re-sign Soto. Like, obviously, the Yankees need to work through re-signing him this year. That's a big priority. It depends on whether, Hal wants to get over the luxury tax. Obviously, Stan's a big factor because of his money and all that different stuff. But I was just very anticipated, when the trade was coming down. Like, a good buddy of ours, Angry John of the podcast, the Boys in McApple podcast, obviously a member on here, he was like, after the Verdugo trade, he's like, I don't think the Yankees are getting Soto now. I'm like, never say never, John. And he was wrong, and he acknowledges it. But you know what? I'm excited. Juan Soto is a top hitter in baseball, on-base percentage galore, power. He is everything that the Yankees need at the top of the lineup, and you need protection for Aaron Judge, and I think he's going to be that.
Well, to clarify on John, he's a Mets fan, so I don't know that he'd particularly know what he would be talking about there. But
that is what I've heard from Mets fans. Oh, what about Juan Soto signing? It's like, guys, it's 2024. We haven't played the first game of the season yet, and I have Mets fans, my producers at CBS. Oh my God, we're gonna get Juan Soto's gonna look great in the Mets uniform in 2025. It's like you guys are so pathetic right now that you have to worry about 2025. Like, get out of my mentions, Mets fans. Like, it's not worried. It's a joke.
They're so worried about us that they're not even concerned about their own team. What does that tell you?
Tells you they stink.
Exactly.
They stink this year. No, I just listen. of course, Drew Thorpe and these guys. It was a lot of depth. That's why I was tweeting at the San Diego Padres when the move went. Once they started talking about King and Clark, you start being like, all right, Padres, like stop being. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, go ahead.
Stop being assholes. Just take the trade because we were giving you so much pitching depth. But at the same time, Juan Soto is a prototypical Yankee Stadium player. I mean, it just makes way too much sense. Obviously, the pitching depth is obviously much worse now, but at the same time, you added a guy who's has a 420 on base percentage to the lineup to a team that desperately needed an offense because they were horrible last year. When they would give up 5 runs, you knew the game was over. And the only thing they had last year was Aaron Judge. And I'm sorry, I'm just, that's all I hear from Mets fans. They have nothing to rely on other than Juan Soto is going to look great in a Mets uniform in 2025. It's like, you guys are so pathetic. We haven't even played ball yet. We haven't even started the season yet. And they're worried about how, I get it, but it's a tough look for them. It's a tough look for them.
Well, what's even worse for them is the fact that they may not have Pete Alonso for very long either. I think that scares them more than anything.
Yeah, we're not worried about the Mets.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? We just have to pat them on, rub their
Little
belt.
brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Just pat him on the head. But what's up to I see Armand is a Mets fan, but he's just saying he's coming to defensive John. What's up to Armand? LI, what's up? Morning Brew Sports, which is technically Jiggo, what's up? Moving on, still in the Juan Soto subject. I think one of the biggest things, first of all, I've been advocating for Juan Soto for quite a while now. I think it was even going back to the deadline even before that, because I look at stuff from an old school standpoint, some analytics as well, and he walks more than he strikes out most of his career. I mean, he's got a huge track record of that. And then you have Verdugo, which we could get maybe a little bit into because it's not as major, but him in the lineup, you have Judge, you can't pitch around him. I'll start with Sean on this one. How big is the Soto acquisition as far as a Yankees lineup combination standpoint?
I think it's huge because you look at the biggest thing that killed the Yankees last year was when Judge went down, nobody could step up. And the offense was piss poor, and these are guys that you would think, all right, without Judge, this shouldn't be a problem. And everybody underachieved. To add that bat to the lineup is huge because I feel like it takes a little pressure off of everybody else trying to step up around, build up around Judge. And I think the other big thing too is we've needed lefty bats for so long, and it's about time the Yankees have finally gone back to that, trying to bring in the lefties, because we've seen Soto play against the Yankees a couple times, and the home runs he hits there are some of the biggest home runs I've ever seen. So I love the addition to the lineup. I think it's going to be. It has me excited for the offense this year to know that now we don't have to just rely off a Judge in every game, because it felt like Judge was the only one winning us games last year. At least that's how it felt.
More of a lefty righty balance too when you add in all the other guys. But Jimmy,
as far as lineup construction, I only have one hope for the Yankees this year, and that's a consistent 1 through 5. I know Judge has been pleading Aaron Boone to bat third, and I think he's going to get his wish this year. And I'm all cool for really any combination of anything. But I think when you look at the most dominant teams offensively, whether it be the Astros or the Phillies, they just know where their 1 through 5 stands every day. And I think when the combination of lineups just gets a little out of hand with Aaron Boone sometimes, and I'm just hoping for consistency. That's all I'm pleading for. I'm not asking for somebody to bat first. Again, in a perfect world, I thought that I liked Verdugo leading off, but now that we know that Judge wants to bat third, let the captain bat where he wants. Brian Cashman went out and signed 3 lefty outfielders. I feel like all of us Yankee fans are happy about that, but I just want consistency from the top of the order. And that's why really at the end of the day, I want Giancarlo batting 6 or 7, just because you can always move this guy up if he's hitting well. And, again, that 1 through 5 consistency, and I'll just be a happy guy. But there's just way too many lineup changes last year, in my opinion.
Very much agree with that. Dane, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really like Soto in front of Judge because we have had problems scoring runs, having guys on base for Judge. I think having someone who gets on base 40% of the time throughout his career in front of Judge is going to lead to a lot of scoring early. As far as lineup construction, I have concerns with DJ at the top, as they're talking about, but I think by middle of the year, you're going to see Jason Dominguez in that leadoff spot, and that would be the best 1, 2, 3 in baseball, in my opinion.
Okay. Luca.
Yeah, Jimmy mentioned it perfectly, talking about the lineup combination from 1 through 5. Obviously, hitters, when they're constantly placed in the right spot, obviously, and they stay consistent there and they're not moved around, they get a bit of a flow. They can go on hot streaks. And obviously you can change the lineup when a batter's batting cold, but for some reason the Yankees have never really believed in hot and cold where everything is still moving regardless. So yes, I do agree with Jimmy that the Yankees really need to have a consistent 1 through 5, whether that be Judge in there, Soto, Glaber, maybe Anthony Rizzo. I'm not sure. I mean, we can go over that in a little bit. But, yeah, the lefty-righty balance is there. But I also agree with Dane. I think DJ LeMahieu being at the top of the order is a concern right now because he's another one of those players, and the Yankees do have some of these players pitching and offensively where they need a bounce back here. That's kind of a problem, but we'll get to that later. So those were my thoughts.
Okay. So I'm going to jump into now. Verdugo wasn't as a major, I would say, trade because it kind of was overshadowed by the Juan Soto thing. So we can maybe touch on it after. But here's another big thing that the New York Yankees did this offseason. They went out and signed Marcus Stroman. Now, of course, you had your different reactions to that. I'll state mine at the end because I do want to get the panel's thoughts. I'm sure, feelings have changed over the last few months, or I should say a few weeks, with Marcus Stroman kind of embracing the Yankees a little bit more. But again, I'll start with Jimmy. What was your reaction to the New York Yankees going out and signing Marcus Stroman?
So I think it was a good move because it kept us under the luxury tax threshold. And I think that's Brian Cashman's main objective every single year. I think it's a B signing. Love that it's 2 years, 17.5 each. It's hard to really complain after Juan Soto, right? Obviously, if they went down and signed a guy like Blake Snell, they'd be paying an extra $24 million in luxury tax because it's a 1-to-1 thing, and the Yankees are so close to the luxury tax threshold that it made so much sense. Now, as far as do I like Marcus Stroman? No, I mean, the guy blocked me on Twitter and never said a word about him. So he's soft when it comes to the public. Like, I will say that. Like, everybody out there, tweeting back at the Yankees, oh my God, send pictures of this guy or that guy. Like, Marcus Stroman hated the Yankee fans, hated the Yankees. I can forgive and forget. I can easily. But everyone's a little bit too hyped about this guy. And, I mean, he has injury concerns, and we're hoping for the best with him, but I'm going to grade it as a B overall. There's a lot of fanboys out there that are switching sides pretty quickly on this guy right now.
What's up to Anthony Medina in the chat? I'll say this. I have to absolutely agree with pretty much everything that Jimmy just said, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, I have screenshots on my computer of Stroman cursing at Yankee fans. Like, I just wanted to keep that in mind. And listen, look, I'm not going to sit here and have a vendetta against the guy. I think, the deal is good itself, right? What is it, 2 years, a third-year option? It's not bad when you look at the scheme of things. But he has a history on social media of acting like a jerk off. Like, let's be completely transparent about that. He has a jerk off history on social media, and whether Aaron Boone and the Yankees can kind of curb that and say, hey, shut your mouth and play ball, that is the concern for Yankee fans, because he could go to this city, that city, whatever, and do all that sorts of nonsense. But once you're in the Big Apple, especially playing for the Yankees, it's really glorified, and glorified's not even the right word. It's just largely maximized. Can't think of the word right now, but I hope this goes well. Again, it's like a B signing, and the consistency hasn't been there in his career. I mean, again, low, in terms of a deal, not bad, but he's only been an all-star once, and most of the time he's had an under 500 record, around a 4+ ERA. So that's like the part I'm worried about on the pitching side of things. Sean, your thoughts? Oh, wait.
Well,
Luca,
Luca
you said
had
you
something he
wanted
wanted to say.
Yeah, I was actually going to add some nuance to what you guys are concerned about. So the biggest thing with Stroman, I'll actually add in my thoughts. I don't really like to cut in front of people, but I'm just going to use it for this because you guys were talking about some concerns with Stroman. Stroman was what? The number two pitcher for the Cubs last year, if I'm being correct?
Somewhere along those lines.
I think you're right.
He's on a 1-year contract, too.
Right, 1-year contract. Okay, so I'm going to give you his numbers pre and post All-Star break. Pre All-Star break, he was an All-Star last year, 9-6 with a 2.96 ERA, 98 strikeouts in 112 and 2/3 innings, 84 hits. I think he walked 41 batters. His opposing average was 205. Okay, that's not bad. He also had, let's see, a whip of, let me pull this up, 1.11. That's not bad. Maybe a little high for the ERA, but that's okay. Post All-Star break is what concerns me. He pitched in less games. He only started 8 games from the All-Star break on. Now, I don't know if he was hurt. I'd have to look that up. But here are the numbers.
He was hurt.
Yep.
Well, don't forget, I was just going to add, don't forget, he was also a starter in the WBC for Team Puerto Rico. So that could have had an effect on his second half, too.
Yeah, that's very much so. And I'll give you the numbers as he was hurt. 1-3 with the 6.83 ERA. I'm sorry, 8.63 ERA, not 6.83. He pitched in 8 games. He started 6 of them. He struck out 21 batters in 24 innings, 36 hits, and 27 runs. His opposing average was 327, just reading off the basic numbers. So you really need Marcus. While there's going to be less pressure off of Stroman as being probably, you hope, the number 3 starter, you hope for a bounce back because the guy in front of him, Rodon, also needs a big bounce back year for a lot of money Rodon is earning. But again, Stroman, if Rodon pitches well, I have less concerns. But if he has to step up as the number 2, that's where I start to get concerned.
Sean?
I agree. I think everybody here has made great points. And actually, Jimmy made a point that I didn't even think about, which is actually very smart. And that was that the amount he paid to not head over that luxury tax. And I didn't even think about it like that. And that's makes a lot of sense. At first, I really wasn't happy about the Stroman deal because of his off the field antics with the social media stuff. It scares me because one bad start, and if he gets booed once, I'm afraid to see how he's going to react. How is he going to handle the pressure of New York? That's what's concerning. I have no doubt that he can succeed here in New York, but he also does not have a great history of pitching in Yankee Stadium or even just New York City in general, for that matter. Luca also mentioned his second half numbers, which are concerning, but I also will give him some leeway because he was a starter in the WBC, and that was a common theme with a lot of pitchers last year that did, just players in general that played in the World Baseball Classic. A lot of those guys were getting hurt. But again, I think Stroman is on a very short leash with the fans, and I have a bad feeling 1 or 2 bad starts may cause problems already, and that's what worries me because you don't know how he'll handle the pressure, and you get that. That's the big thing with a lot of Yankee fans. I agree with Jimmy. The one thing I've noticed is there are a lot of people that are completely switching sides. We can't forget about before. You can't. You got to prove. He's got to prove to us he wants to be here and that he could help lead us to the playoffs and a World Series.
I hated the signing to begin with. Pete and I were live right after that, and then you start to find out that Stroman had bigger offers for more money and longer term to go out another team. He took less money to be a Yankee. He wants to be a Yankee. This has been his lifelong dream. You see the stuff he put on social media about blocking everybody from his family, his friends, saying, I'm not going to be answering social media stuff. all season. I'll talk to you in November. Winning championships is important to us. I mean, he put that out yesterday. I don't think you can hate the Stroman signing, and the ball's on the guy to come to New York after he's already pissed the fan base off as bad as he has, to willingly accept that. That says something about the guy. I want him here. I want to see how he does. I think it was a good signing. I think we're going to be really happy with him this year.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk too negatively about the Stroman signing at all. Like, I just want to be realistic about it, just because, you know, we're probably all on Twitter, or you just feel that instant fan reaction. And whenever we start to see the spring training pictures and stuff, everybody has a hard on. And then, you know, the guy's going to pitch bad eventually. Let's see what happens then. Let's see how he handled himself, because it's not easy. Listen, it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. Like, you guys probably all get comments, good, bad, indifferent. It's not easy to ignore them like all the time. You know, it gets easier and easier. But this is a guy who is making millions of dollars pitching for the Yankees or a different team, who's blocking Yankee fans, and you're just like, are you okay, dude? Like, listen, like, it's one thing when like tweeting back at a troll, because like it's almost my job to. But his job is to throw strikes. And again, positive vibes only. I hope Marcus Stroman isn't putting on some act with the 1996 cap, making everything looking cute. You know, got the pearly whites. He looks fantastic in pinstripes. But at the end of the day, I want to see when the going gets tough with Marcus Stroman, not this, oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day to be a Yankees fan. All right, let's see when you go for a slump like Joey Gallo, what happens? Because it's very easy to be positive when when you're, you know, just signed, and, you know, there will be rough days for Marcus Stroman in the future. And I just want Yankee fans to relax a tiny bit. Just, again, he's probably going to have a 4.0 ERA. You know, we need him to bring innings to this team. I'm just lowering the expectations because I don't want to be hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everyone else should, kind of like Jimmy is. You know, you have the expectations so high, and then he hurts us maybe a few starts, and, you know, shit in the bed, and, you know, all that other stuff. But what's up to Miz? What's up to Joe in the chat clowning around? What's up to Katie? So I thought I would also go into the lesser moves too. Trent Grisham, he was a part of that trade. He obviously kind of fills out the back half of the outfield as a depth piece. That was pretty much the end all be all to the departure of Esteban Florial. And then also before that, you had Alex Verdugo, who is, I believe, a free agent after the season. If I'm not mistaken, it's either this season. Okay, so it is this season. So the Yankees will have two decisions to make in the outfield. But obviously, you know, you do have Dominguez coming back, at least at that point, we hope, and a lot of other different things combining as well. Now, I have a question, though. And for me, like, I don't know why. I don't know why people dislike Alex Verdugo. Maybe it's something I don't understand. Maybe some context that I'm not gathering. But I've always thought Verdugo's like, you know, he's a Red Sox, but he's like the not hateable Red Sox, especially when that fan accidentally hit him with the baseball in like 2021.
Alex, I'm going to stop you for a sec. We can't say that, because don't you remember 2021 opening day? We were chanting that he was a Verdouchebag.
Well, whatever happens in the bleachers stays in the bleachers.
Okay, that's
fair. Jimmy, your thoughts on that? Like, as I said, I'm not really in that stratosphere.
Okay, so Alex Verdugo, I was in the left field when that whole incident happened that one day with him. But before that even happened, he was signing balls for people. I mean, realistically, more importantly, if he was on the Yankees last year, he would have the second best batting average on the team. He puts the ball to the barrel. The barrel to the ball. And yeah, I mean, I love it. No offense to Greg Weissert. I can switch. We have the Fordham sign over here. I love Greg Weissert, but it was a great trade. And, you know, Cashman did a great job leveraging with the Padres. He was negotiating with the Padres and the Red Sox at the same time. And then he was just like, fuck it, we'll just get all three guys. here. So I love it. If it was the first move over Soto, I would be like, C plus, B minus. But just to add that to Soto, especially with Dominguez out probably until end of July, I love it. I really love it.
Jason's already taken dry swings, and he's going to start a throwing program next week. He'll be back and playing. Actually, that was from the manager last night, Boone.
Okay.
Yeah, but doesn't the elbow usually take 9 months? Because you got hurt in September. So isn't it 9 months from September?
Not for players, no. Not for position players. He's already throwing. He's been taking dry swings for 2 weeks. I've got somebody who was taking pictures of him doing it.
So when do you think he's going to be back?
He'll be back playing games by May in AAA.
I didn't even think it'd be that early. I was thinking more like July.
Yeah, I just, it scares me. Like I don't like Aaron Boone. I'm not a Boone guy.
Neither am I.
He says all the right things. He says all the right things. I get nervous about an elbow injury and the fact that they brought in 3 outfielders. Listen, nobody loves the Martian more than me. Embrace the Martian. I love that guy. I will literally drive into a car for that guy. But it just concerns me that they got Grisham and they got Verdugo and they got Soto. They must have known something. I don't know. But you're telling me, May, if Jason Dominguez is playing Major League Baseball by June, that is the biggest W in the world.
He will be.
Have to hope that they're not rushing the process either. That's, we have the depth. We don't. That's just what scares me. Is you don't want to push him too hard, too fast, because he's still a young guy. We know he can recover quickly, but we want him. We know he's our future center fielder. I just don't want to see them make any rash decisions, pushing him too fast that could lead to long-term consequences. The fact that you say May caught me off guard because I was thinking more like June, July. But the fact that we could have him back, so the fact that we could have him back, it's exciting, but also a little nerve-wracking. But you know what? I'll be at his rehab assignment in Scranton. I know that much.
I think it would be a huge mistake to push him because he is the future of this team in some outfield position. I don't believe he's a center fielder long-term at all, but he is a future big piece of this team. I hope they don't rush him, but my guys have talked to him and he feels great. He is in really, really good shape and he'll be fine by May or June.
But isn't that Mickey Mouse Aaron Boone just being positive? Because
these are guys that have talked to Jason Dominguez.
So, okay. All right. Listen, you're giving me great news today because Aaron Boone is Mickey Mouse and he wants to say all the right things at every single time. But
I don't listen to a word Aaron Boone says.
I don't think anyone does.
Good.
Yankee fans 2 days ago were furious the fact that they came out with this Efros news. I mean, listen, that happened 2 months ago. I feel like they're very calculated with throwing out injuries. And I'm not arguing with you about anything, or I would love to see Jason Dominguez in May. I don't know. I just think that, listen, Dominguez can say he feels good, and I love that from the kid. I hope he pushes himself every single day to the nth degree. I just don't trust Aaron Boone as a manager, the way that he's had these guys. We've had 30 injuries year after year after year after year, and I get worried that that's the guy in charge of this team. So, again, I mean, no one be happier than me, but I don't know. I don't know if May really makes sense. But there are people that
Harper was swinging after 6 months. It's a position player. It does not take as long for the ligament to heal. Jason got the sleeve surgery, not the full Tommy John, where they put a sleeve over the ligament. So it speeds up healing time. He's 21 years old. He's ahead of healing time.
No, listen, again, this is great news. This is not bad news at all. I was just thinking more, I don't know. It doesn't make, I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it as insurance. And I know that the Yankees didn't really want Trent Grisham as much as he was part of the trade because they were getting $5 million off the books, basically. But listen, if Jason Dominguez is on the Yankees in June, that is a huge W for his team because Giancarlo Stanton's probably going to be riding the bench by then.
That's just what I was about to ask is, what do you do then when Dominguez does come back? Obviously, you can't put him in the outfield every single day. That'd be insane to do something like that so soon.
I think they're going to start him in AAA and let him build up, and then when there's an injury or something, they'll bring him up. But the obvious way to clear a spot for Jason Dominguez is trade Alex Verdugo by the deadline. That's really the only way you can clear up a spot.
Right.
I never thought of it that way, honestly. But what's up to Chris and then also Angry John's in the chat? And no, I definitely get Jimmy's point because I was on the same page with everybody of like, hey, this guy's gonna come back in the summer. But then I hear Mays, it's like, hopefully they're not rushed the process. Then you said you guys are
best news of all time.
I will say, and this is a little dig at Luca here. There's only one coach that's worse than Aaron Boone when it comes to talking about injuries. Luca, you mind?
Yeah, I'm not mentioning that clown coach, but anyways, the thing is,
I was asking you who the clown coach was, so that the rest of the panel knows.
Are you guys brothers? Are you guys brothers?
Well, we're even more than that. We're twins.
They're twins.
Oh, you guys are twins! Oh my god!
But
this is what we do. The three of us pick on each other all the time. It's normal.
So it's kind of an ongoing thing. Yes, Joe. I see your super chats and everything.
Robert Sala. That's who I was mentioning. But anyways, I do get Jimmy's point in terms of the scared thing. I obviously understand that Dayne has his sources, and I'm sure he's right. But you got to figure that the Yankees kind of mishandled his injury at first. They said it was soreness, and then I don't know what they said afterwards.
Real quickly, Luca. Anthony Rizzo.
Oh yeah, but it falls on the same kind of wavelength.
Yeah, I get the point.
They said it was soreness, and I think they said it was a bone spur afterwards or something like that, and then they said, "Oh, he's got to have surgery." So, you just hope that the Yankees are right on this. You hope that Dominguez obviously recovers now that Dayne has given this news that he's not the full Tommy John surgery now so much that he has a sleeve on his ligament now that he can recover faster. We hope he recovers faster. We hope he stays healthy. We hope he's productive when he gets back.
Yeah, and listen, this isn't Dayne could listen. Aaron Boone could say it to Dayne perfectly, and we could all I'm not saying that your information is wrong whatsoever. Just my negative attitude towards Aaron Boone's efficiency in dealing with the IL it is a little concerning for me because he is our treasure. And that's really where I'm at. Because I just listen, if Don Mattingly were the manager right now, I feel a lot more comfortable with the things that were coming out of his mouth. Again, Aaron Boone plays the media better than anybody in the entire world. He only is going to give the good news, and that's why he didn't say. Again, I know I'm a little bee stung by the Efros news. They sat on that for 2.5 months when Yankee fans would have been clamoring for Josh Hader. Instead, we're like, you know what? Our bullpen looks all right. It's like a B plus maybe. But, it's a little frustrating because they signed their corresponding move was a 5'6" lefty. And, I mean, again, nothing wrong with 5'6" people. I might be one of them myself. But at the same time, let's be serious here. This is the New York Yankees. So it's a little frustrating that we're dealing with that. And Aaron Boone only says the right thing. And I know eventually this is going to come bite me in the ass because Aaron Boone has definitely said that he doesn't like me before. But at the same time, it is what I don't think he does a great job with the IL. And that's just my two thoughts. Obviously, we only hear the best things coming from all of these people that are down there. And then we come and then we're let down time after time after time with this organization when it comes to injuries. And I'm just trying to bring a little bit of the heat. You guys can obviously shut up, Zach Brownish. Fuck off. Go ahead.
Oh man. Yeah, but I'm so glad we're on the same page as Aaron Boone. Who are you talking about this 5'6" lefty? Like the Yankees have brought in. I mean, we'll get into it a little bit, but the Yankees have brought in so many low risk, high reward pitchers. It's not even funny. Like,
Yeah.
the dude from the Brewers the other day, Cody Morris. So many
Didn't they
other.
just get somebody from the Phillies too? I forget his name.
I mean, if
Yeah,
Yeah,
we,
he throws
waivers.
100.
which one?
The kid from the Phillies, he's got a great arm, just doesn't know where it's going. He needs help with sequencing and command, which Blake specializes in. The kid from the Brewers throws 97, 98, has an absolutely wipeout slider and a good changeup. He's not a bad third lefty out of a bullpen.
Okay, so there's some.
And
Oh,
obviously
the Zach Brownish guy. Do we know this guy?
Well,
no,
Zach,
we do. Me and Alex do.
we do.
And
I-
I'm
Yeah,
sure
fuck
Dayne
you,
does.
Zach, you fucking asshole. God damn it.
what, someone,
Jesus
what,
Christ.
he say
Try to bring
something?
some energy. It's 8:30. Oh, I don't care if you like me or not, Zach, you dickhead.
I was gonna say, damn. Now I was gonna also mention. I mean, we'll get Dane's thoughts on this too. I mean, obviously when we get to it, but the Yankees also hypothetically traded.
Go
for
give
Wandy
away a
for-
shirt. All right, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. Great.
What the hell is going on?
What are we doing?
Popcorn.
What?
Listen, I'm just reading the chat. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, Luca.
No, I was gonna say we'll eventually bring up how Dane will obviously give his thoughts soon enough on the Yankees' replacement for Wandy being Caleb Ferguson from the Dodgers.
Okay. All right. I guess we could go about to because I think the bullpen's going to be more of the talk of the strengths and concerns. Grading the offseason moves. If you were to grade the offseason in general, how would you grade it? I'll start with Luca.
I like the moves. Obviously, Soto, Stroman, I could buy into if Rodon bounces back. The one thing that kind of ticked me off, obviously we have a good bullpen and all that. I'm not worried about that. There are some questions there. The one thing that kind of bit me in the ass was the Yankees holding on to Spencer Jones for Corbin Burns. I'm not saying I'm not saying I am not saying Spencer Jones is not legit. I am not saying he's a bad prospect, and we don't know what he's going to be at the MLB level. But Corbin Burns is a legit top 5, top 10 pitcher in all of baseball. You're going to have to give up one of your top prospects for him. And if even let's just say you have Burns, you have Cole, you have Rodon. I don't know if they go after. I don't know if they signed Stroman. Well, the Burns thing was after Stroman, but you could put Rodon J3, whatever. But having two frontline guys in Burns and Cole offsets the pressure from Stroman and Rodon, and therefore you maybe also the 5 pitcher as well. So that's the one thing that kind of bit me in the ass. Well, yeah, that's the same thing with Juan Soto. You hope you extend Burns and Soto, but the Yankees don't have Burns, obviously.
Now,
I
want to add.
I wanted the Yankees to trade for Corbin Burns. I love Spencer Jones. There might not be a bigger Spencer Jones fan around. I would have traded him for Corbin Burns in a heartbeat and not thought about it twice. I mean, he's a top 5 pitcher in baseball to me. I think that you go get him, that improves your World Series odds immensely. If you do that, you can't prospect hug when you have an ace that you can actually go get.
Now, here's my biggest.
Sean, you were saying.
Here's my biggest problem with this. Obviously, I agree with the both of you. The fact that I like Spencer Jones too. I've watched him. He's a fantastic player. My problem is you held on to him and you just allowed the Baltimore Orioles to get stronger. That cannot happen. That cannot happen because to me right now, they are one of the strongest, if not the strongest team in the division. And what was, in my opinion, their biggest weaknesses last year? It was pitching. And
exactly
because the Yankees wouldn't go after him, because they'd rather hold on to Spencer Jones, you just allowed the Baltimore Orioles to get stronger. And that cannot happen. And it's funny because I actually met a Baltimore Orioles fan at work today, and he said, he literally says to me, I said, I'm so thankful you guys held on to Spencer Jones because we just got better. I'm like, yeah, okay. But yeah, I think it was worst possible scenario to where we did not get him and the Orioles did. And that just cannot happen.
Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the Yankees holding on to Spencer Jones and that Corbin
No,
Burns?
it was a great move for the Orioles. As far as holding on to Spencer Jones, I mean, guy is a stud. Vanderbilt, just absolute monster there. Known about him for a long time. I love Spencer Jones. Obviously, I would have traded for Corbin Burns as well, but also at the same time, I don't really fault Cashman on that move. The Carlisle group and David Rubenstein came in and they basically bought the Orioles at the 11th hour, and it was a great, really savvy move by Rubenstein. And shout out to my lady Krista, who works at Carlisle. She's an enemy of the state now. Just really smart move by the Orioles. And I love Spencer. I would trade Spencer, but at the same time, I don't fault Cashman for that.
Okay. I think I got everyone's opinion. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that I would trade him because I know somebody brought it up in the chat. I don't know that I'd trade him for Cease. And I'm one of the biggest Dylan Cease fans out there. And I know obviously Jacob mentioned, it's a 1-year thing with Corbin Burns. And like, you kind of have that way with Soto to where I get the argument, but at the same time, you're not going to care. Let's just say Spencer Jones turns out to be Spencer Jones and one of the best or whatnot. And then they win a World Series with Corbin Burns. I mean, are we really going to care what Spencer Jones is like if we missed out on a starting pitcher? I mean, that's
what Christian of NYYST tweeted, and I thought he was perfect on that assessment.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here until it hits the Yankees in the ass, if it does hit the Yankees in the ass. But, I mean, that's just a point to move off from. But if I were to grade the offseason, I'd say like either an A flat or an A minus, because the Soto thing just blows everything else out of the water. I don't like that they didn't get, maybe another relief pitcher. And I had my particular parts. Like I know I wasn't the biggest fan of Hader. I wanted Wandy back. He signed a 4-year deal over in San Diego. There were a couple other relievers that I was pickpocketing or wanting at least. But I guess that didn't happen. Jimmy, how would you grade the offseason?
B plus. I'm satisfied. Listen, Juan Soto, I'm good. I know that that's an easy, like, just a throwaway comment or whatever, but also at the same time, I was so despondent during the season last year when the offense was so putrid that this is the guy that we all asked for. They got him. It would have been great to get Yamamoto, but also at the same time, listen, I mean, I have the shirt on right now. I'm pumped for Juan Soto, and I'm not going to give it an A because they didn't sign or Snell or even a Monty that would have given me more ease, I would say, in the back end. But I love the Stroman move just because of how much he was offered, and B plus, I think.
Okay, Sean.
I'd have to say B plus, somewhere in that range, because I love what they did, obviously, with Soto. I think that's an obvious. I mean, those who watch wrestling know when they don't get what they want, they threaten to riot. I truly think if we didn't get Soto, Yankee fans were going to riot outside the stadium. So I am happy with what we did with the offense. My only concerns were not adding to the rotation, not getting a Corbin Burns or adding to the pen. I like Alex. I want Wandy Peralta, though I do like the Caleb Ferguson deal. He had some pretty decent numbers out in LA, so I actually don't mind that they brought him in. I still personally kind of wanted Hader because I'm still iffy on Clay Holmes. I know how good he can be. It's when he struggles that's what's the big problem with him, is he's not always consistent. But overall, I'd say about a B. I think it was a solid offseason, and I'm looking forward to this season.
Okay. Dayne, how would you grade it?
I have it as a B plus. You get Juan Soto, that's a B, and I like what they did in the rotation. Obviously, I'm a little higher on the younger kids that are going to come up, like Will Warren, Clayton Beater, Heel, Andres Gomes, that can fill in the back of that bullpen or help in the rotation. I really like Yeri De Los Santos that they picked up from the Pirates. I think he's a real arm to watch out of the bullpen. And we've got some really exciting bullpen arms in Danny Watson and Jack Neely coming. So I think that we'll be in good shape in the bullpen. It was a good offseason, in my opinion.
Okay. Luca, did you give your grade? I forget.
Yeah, I would say it's more towards an A- and a B+.
Okay. Moving forward, positional strengths and concerns was what I was talking about earlier. I guess I'll start with Jimmy on this one. One strength of the team, position-wise, and one weakness of the team, position-wise. Talking about it a little bit.
Corner infield is the weakness. Just on the fact that Rizzo and LeMahieu, can they still stay healthy? I think they're obviously going to give Peraza a chance, and but I think that really is their weak point. And then I love what they did with the outfield. I'm really excited about the outfield right now, especially if we do see Dominguez come back earlier, and just the depth that they have. Even Spencer Jones could potentially be up later in the year. So I love the outfield, and just the corner infield is a little bit weak, but maybe Peraza plays well this year, and because that would be pretty huge.
Sean.
Well, I think it's very obvious where the strength lies, and that's in the outfield. I mean, when you have Aaron Judge, Alex Verdugo, and Juan Soto all in the same outfield, that's an all-star studded outfield. I mean, where can you go wrong with that? So I think it's very obvious where the strength lies. I think that my concern, my biggest weakness, or what I fear is still the rotation because there's so many questions. I don't worry about Cole. Cole I have no concern with. It's can Rodon bounce back? I mean, Rodon has already lost half the fan base, the last year with how his season ended, even how it started when he was getting booed out in Anaheim. Obviously, we need to see what we're going to get out of Stroman. Can Nestor bounce back to where he was? So that's kind of where I'm at, where I think the pitching staff is still, in my opinion, the biggest concern going into the season.
Okay. I'll go Dayne next.
Obviously, third base is a place that I'm really concerned. I don't know that they're ever going to give Peraza a shot. He can handle the position defensively. There's no question about that. The bat's a little bit of the concern. I don't know if you guys have seen his offseason workouts and the pictures. He's added about 10 to 15 pounds. He looks really, really good. As far as the position of strength, I'm really looking behind the plate. I am a big Austin Wells fan. Trevino as a mentor to help him get more used to catching in the major leagues. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what we have from Austin Wells.
Okay. Luca?
I'm actually going to agree with Sean here. I do think the biggest strength is the outfield, but I do feel that the starting pitching has way too many question marks for it to be a strength. Obviously, Stroman's bad half second year. Carlos Rodon's bad year last year. Nestor Cortez had a down year in injuries last year. And obviously, Clark Schmidt is a question mark as well. Can he, improve off of last year as well? So I would say that the starting rotation outside of Cole is a bit of a weakness, but I will also add the Yankees have, Chase Hampton in the system. They also have Luis Hill coming off of Tommy John surgery. I'm sure he's probably near full recovery at this point.
Yeah, so I'm going to be pretty much to everybody and say I think the outfield and the outfield depth itself is a strength. And I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to say the bullpen is a weakness, and I get it. A lot of money has been spent in the starting rotation. But with that being said, I just feel like there's a lot of question marks. Now, it could be like low risk and high reward, but it could also be like low risk, low reward type thing where it doesn't really get done. And then, we talk about, hey, they didn't spend much assets in the bullpen, all these different things. I mean, I mentioned it before. How many guys have they traded for? Have they signed that we haven't known the names of? They could work out, but on the other end, they may not because the Yankees didn't really put like strong assets. I'm going to go down the list right now. Luke Weaver. We already know him, I believe, from last year. Nick Ramirez. We know him from last year, definitely. Cody Petit, who was, I think, recently with Miami. Cody Morris, recently with Cleveland. I believe that may have been the trade for Florial. If not, it was somebody else. McKinley Moore, who they just traded for. There was a Phillies guy I think y'all were talking about. Ron Marinaccio, who I was gravely disappointed in last year, gravely. Jonathan Loaizaga, who seems to always be a magnet for the injured list. Tommy Kahnle, one of the more consistent guys. Clay Holmes, one of the more consistent, but can also be a tad rocky. Ian Hamilton, not the biggest fan. Victor Gonzalez, which was, I believe, that trade for swap Trey Sweeney went over to the LA Dodgers. Yendrys Gomez, Luis Heel off of Tommy John, Caleb Ferguson, who I happen to like, and then Clayton Andrews. That's pretty much it. So there are a lot of legitimate question marks inside the Yankees bullpen. And also the guys who've been invited to spring training, but I guess, we'll have to see in spring training whether they, go out there and make a role for themselves or not. So I'm going to start with awards, and not awards, but like nominations and stuff like that. Actually, you know what? I better start off with this because, Dayne specializes in it. I'll start with Dayne. What's one prospect you're looking forward to seeing in spring training?
Will Warren. I'm a big fan of Will Warren. He's 94 to 98 with the 4-seam, has a 2-seam that has unbelievable life on it, cutter, and then he throws a curveball, changeup, and he's got probably one of the best sweepers you've ever seen. Kylie McDaniels called it a 70 grade pitch that played like an 80 grade pitch. You don't see that a lot. And he also picked him to be a Rookie of the Year candidate. I think Will Warren's going to play a big, big factor into this season. He's stretched out, can go 130 to 150, 60 innings. He can give you a lot of innings. And the other guy would be Ben Rice. If you're worried about Anthony Rizzo at first base, you have Ben Rice, and Ben Rice can really hit a baseball. So I'm looking forward to seeing those two the most.
Okay. I'll go right back up to Jimmy.
Yeah, I want to see Spencer Jones. Dayne made great points. Obviously, those guys are great. I just want to add somebody. I want to see Spencer Jones. I want to see, am I excited that we kept him, or should we have traded him? So that's what I'm looking forward to, Cam.
Okay. Sean?
Well, I like both the players you named. Correct me if I'm wrong. Spencer Henson, is he going to be a invitee for this upcoming spring or no? No, he's not, because he's a name that I've looked into. He's a guy that I know he's liked by some Yankee fans, so I would like to see what he'll do when the minor league season comes. But in terms of looking at who is going to be there, I think Spencer Jones right now is the obvious. The man's a monster. I can't wait to see what he's going to do this upcoming spring.
Okay. Luca?
I don't know if this guy's injured. I'm going to throw a curveball in here. This guy came up towards the end of last season, righty outfielder, and didn't exactly impress. I'm looking towards Everson Pereira to see what he can do in spring training. Obviously, the Yankees have the outfield spots, Judge, Grisham, Soto, Verdugo. We know that. We know Jason Dominguez is yet to make a return. Chris also mentions a great one, Clayton Beeter. That's obviously one of the better Yankees starting pitching prospects they traded for in the Joey Gallo trade. But I'm looking towards Everson Pereira. I need to see more out of him. I like him as a prospect. He strikes out a little too much. But you know what? I think I'm going to look towards in spring training.
Yeah, so I'll throw two out there, actually. Believe it or not, actually, I'll stick to one because I'm looking at the invitee list right now. I'm like, damn, one of these guys isn't on here. Everybody is enamored with Austin Wells and all these different things. Jose Trevino went down. Ben Nordvet, it will do Ben Nordvet type of things. I'm looking at Agustin Ramirez, the catcher. I don't know much on him, but I know what recently, within the last few days, he took somebody deep in batting practice. But ever since last year, like that name popped in my head. I'm like, the Yankees ought to give him a shot, and I want to see what he does in spring training. I don't know what his ceiling is going to be, but actually, you know what? We have Dayne right here. What do you know about Agustin Ramirez?
Agustin Ramirez is a whole lot like Salvador Perez. Big bat, huge power, not the greatest defender as far as receiving and game calling, but he's still very young. That's something catchers learn in later years. Agustin Ramirez is going to be a monster. Has huge exit velocities, went 3 levels last year. And the Yankees put him on the 40-man, and he's not going to be ready this year. So they think very, very highly of him as well. I think he and Wells are going to form a tandem in 2025 that will be the best offensive tandem behind the plate in baseball.
Okay. I'll skip right into, again, a little bit more of the seasonal stuff. A player that needs to bounce back this year. I'm going to start with myself. I'm going to say, and I know a lot of people will go, this guy, that guy, whatever. I'm going to say Anthony Rizzo. I made a video about him, and I know a lot of people may be looking in that direction, maybe not be looking in that direction, whatever. But I look at a lot of different things. I look at Rizzo as he's an aging veteran. He's 34 years old. He's got a club option next year. And Dayne brought up Ben Rice, but I also look at the free agent market. Now, the Yankees are not going to sign Pete Alonso, but he's a threat to the job of Anthony Rizzo if he plays bad. There's other free agents, lower end like Josh Bell and Mark Canha. You also have Paul Goldschmidt, again, probably not going to be a Yankee, but the big one that a lot of people will probably eye onto is Munetaka Murakami over from Japan. He will probably get posted next year, and he's a lefty bat, and I'm pretty sure he's definitely younger than Anthony Rizzo, so I think a lot of that comes into play when we're talking about Anthony Rizzo, and there's no way that he shouldn't progress this year better than last year with the way the lineup has been constructed with the righty-lefty balance. So that's my player that needs to bounce back. I'll go to Jimmy for the next one.
No, it's a great one. I'm going to swing it over to the other side of the court in infield and say DJ LeMahieu. And obviously it's more about his health, how his foot is going to be this year. But yeah, I could not stress how, I think the Yankees' depth is amazing, but the corner infield is the only thing that really is worrying me as far as offensive production goes. But yeah, DJ is my guy for this topic.
Okay, Sean?
I'm going to go with Nestor Cortez. We know what he's capable of. We saw what we know what he can do. The injury bug obviously killed him, just like the rest of the roster over the last several years. But Nestor Cortez is a big one. I think if we can get Nestor back to form, it's the rotation strength is going to go through the roof. It's going to be so much better with him at the top of his game. So I want to see a bounce back from Nestor Cortez.
Okay. I'll go to Dayne next.
I must surprise people. I need to see more from Anthony Volpe as far as what he's done that last year. He hit 210 or below. He can't do that. He can't have an on-base percentage below 300. We need to see him hit 240, 250 this year, steal 40 bags. I'm not so concerned about the home runs. I'm worried about contact. And if he can do that, I think that we're in a lot better shape.
Okay. Luca?
I'm going to pick an obvious one. I'm going to go Carlos Rodon because he's such a big factor for the rotation. I talked about if Rodon pitches well, it takes off pressure of Marcus Stroman and Nestor Cortez. I think this is the year where I think Rodon has to earn his money.
Okay. Moving on. I have to think about this one, so I'll go with Jimmy first. Breakout player.
Ooh, breakout player. I think we're going to have to say Austin Wells. I'm really excited for him behind the plate. To Dayne's point, those are the two guys that if those batting averages are in the 240s to 250s, this team is going to excel offensively, even if Giancarlo doesn't have the greatest year, because those other six guys are really good players. So I think at the back of the end of at the lineup does well. That 240, 250 range for Austin Wells would be lovely. So I'm going to say Austin Wells here.
Sean?
I'd also say Austin Wells, but I'm gonna go down a different. I think it's gonna be Anthony Volpe. He now has a year under his belt. He's seen just how rough it can be, and as Dayne explained earlier, he doesn't need to be a home run guy. Everybody's trying to make him into this home run guy. He doesn't need to be, and that's always been my big thing with the Yankees. Is it doesn't always have to be home run or bust. If Volpe can get on base and he can utilize that speed, he's going to be such an asset for this team. So I'm going to go with Anthony Volpe.
Dayne?
I think Oswaldo Cabrera is going to bounce back a little bit to the guy that we saw his first year. before they screwed with his swing and all that last year. If he can be the guy that hit 28 home runs left-handed in the minor leagues at Double-A, that transforms the back of your bench, your bolt, and he's a better player. He plays all over. I'd like to see him just have a bounce back. I think having that option at third base, second base, shortstop is going to be important for the Yankees.
Okay, Luca.
I think I'm going to go Austin Wells as well because, he gives you offense that Jose Trevino doesn't give you. And I think his defense is set to improve even more this year.
Okay. Moving on to the next one. Let's go with Yankees Rolaids Man of the Year, which is the top relief pitcher. Actually, did I even explain my breakout player? No, I did not. Wow. Okay. I'm going to go Alex Verdugo, and I'm going to say he hits highest amount of home runs in his career. I think right now he is at 13. Let me make sure that I have my stats correct. Okay, home runs. Yeah, highest amount he's hit in his career is twice, and that's 13 with Boston. I say he gets more than 13 this year. I mean, right field. I'm hitting the over on that one. But Yankees top relief pitcher of the year. I'll start with Jimmy again.
Hopefully it's Johnny Lasagna, just because I think his ceiling is the highest. I think that's the guy right there that if we see him take the next step in the bullpen, I mean, he was an all-star or was close to an all-star 2 years ago or 3 years ago. If we can get him back to where he's hitting like high 90s, that would be best case scenario for us. But I don't think he is currently the best reliever, but I think Clay Holmes is currently the best reliever. I just get worried about him when, September hits, how he's going to feel, because he did have to carry this bullpen the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, and he often shows that he gets worked up. Well, doesn't get worked up, but he gets worked out a lot by Aaron Boone. Sean.
I'm going to go with the veteran Tommy Kahnle. I know he kind of had like a rough ending to the year last year, but I think having so many young guys coming up through the system, also a lot of guys coming back, they're going to be looking to him, and he's going to be really the role model piece for a lot of those guys in the bullpen. And he's somebody I feel like I could trust in a big spot. I really do. I think he could handle the pressure very well, and I'm going to go with Tommy Kahnle.
Okay. Dayne?
I would agree with Tommy Kahnle. I think he is going to be the guy that our success hinges on what he does a lot in the back of that bullpen. He's going to need to throw more than just that changeup. You need to see him dial it up again. I think he's going to be real important.
Okay. Luca?
I'm actually going to go with an underrated one. I'm going to go with the new Yankees acquisition, that being Caleb Ferguson.
Love that.
Interesting one to say the least. I mean, he's got the best numbers of most of the guys that we've acquired.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go an underrated. I'm going to go underrated. Victor Gonzalez, the other guy we traded with the Dodgers for. So, I'll do that. I like this one. Most likely to be traded at the deadline. Start with Jimmy again.
I don't want to say his name, but no, I'm not going to say Gleyber Torres. There's a lot of guys. I mean, the Yankees after this year have a lot of free agents, so you can name a lot of guys. I really don't want to name Gleyber. I don't know. I don't really want to trade anyone right now. I like this roster. I'm going to trade Trent Grisham away because I feel confident in the rest of the outfield.
Okay, that's an interesting one, Sean.
I was actually going to say the same thing, Trent Grisham, because you know what, with Dominguez coming back soon, it's going to have to be one of the outfielders, and I think Grisham's the most likely candidate. If not Grisham, could be Oswaldo Cabrera. He might be another name too. That if he continues to struggle like he did last year, I think it's going to come down to one of those two. But I'm going to go with Grisham.
Okay, Dayne.
Does Everson Pereira count?
Yeah.
I think he's most likely to be dealt, and there's just not any space for him.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
I wasn't really turned on by anything he did last year. Plus, he's a big.
He was hurt when he was up. He had
Okay.
a cold quad and a calf injury that he was trying to play through.
Okay. Luca.
I think I would say Gleyber Torres, but I might lean Pereira or maybe even Peraza if the Yankees really don't like Peraza again this year. I'm actually going to go with Peraza. I don't know how much of a chance he's going to get. He's going to have to really have a big spring training. He didn't have one last year. That's why Volpe won the spot. So at the end of the day, I think Peraza will be the guy.
Okay, so Lucas stole mine, but I'm gonna say Peraza. I think his chances are running out with the Yankees, and it's not necessarily his fault. He's just the guy that the Yankees don't seem to like. Dayne was mentioning his bat, and I thought he hit well the first year he came up. Those first few games, he was in 22, and then 23 they sent him back down, didn't make the roster, and then just didn't give him I thought enough opportunities, and he didn't play well. But I think he's going to be on his way out. Bounce back player of the year, we already did. How about MVP? I mean, you could kind of say Judge. You could also say Soto too. How about this? We combine them. MVP and I don't know, Cy Young. Why not? I'll start with Jimmy.
Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole for every answer. That's my guy right there, and it's a guy that we can count on. And imagine what the team would have looked like last year without him. So yeah, obviously the three big names that we're probably going to hear are Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Garrett Cole, because those are the three top 10 players in baseball. I'm going to give Garrett Cole the nod because that's my guy. Shout out to Amy Cole who follows me. That's my squad right there. I love Garrett.
Okay. Sean?
It's going to be an obvious answer, but I think Judge for MVP, Cole for Cy Young. Judge just he puts this team on his back a way that no other player in baseball can, and I think that's something that we noticed last year when Judge went down. We saw the rest of the team crumble without him. So having Judge back, knowing that he could single-handedly win a game on his own, it feels like, I think Judge has to be MVP. In the MVP conversation every year. And as far as Cy Young, it's Garrett Cole. And you could lean on him in a game 7 situation. I mean, who else would you go to in that spot? It's got to be Cole.
You're right. Dayne?
Cole, obviously, for pitching. I don't think we have anybody else that's really going to be in that realm. I'm going to go Juan Soto. I think that him hitting in front of Aaron Judge, he's going to see so many fastballs that hitting in Yankee Stadium, it's built for left-hand players. I think he's going to have a huge year.
Okay, Luca?
I'm going to go with Judge, and my MVP is going to be Garrett Cole. I mean, Cole was the Cy Young last year. I don't think he wins the actual MLB Cy Young again this year, but he's going to be the Yankees' best pitcher.
Okay, so I'm going to side with Dayne here, and I'm going to say Garrett Cole and Juan Soto. I just think Soto. I'll give a different answer, but I feel like Soto's going to really have fun with the Yankees short porch. And then to end it off, along with your final thoughts and where people could find you, of course, how many wins will the Yankees have in 2024? Start with Jimmy.
I'm going to say 91 wins. I think they had 82 last year. I think Juan Soto and Verdugo are going to help a lot. Doesn't mean that the Yankees can't win the World Series with 91 wins. We saw what the Phillies have done with 2 big power bats. And then, I'm going to say 91.
Okay. Sean?
I'm going to say around 95. I'm going to go 95. I'm feeling optimistic with this team. The one thing I talked about this a lot when I had my radio show on Staten Island. One of my favorite changes to the MLB schedule is now that everybody plays everybody. Nobody has a easier schedule or harder schedule than the other. So it's still going to be just like last year. I think a very close, even playing field for a lot of teams. And I think it comes down to the wire in terms of the division, but I'm going to say 95 wins. I feel good about this team.
Okay. Dayne?
I would go 97. I think having a healthy Aaron Judge with a Juan Soto, that offense is going to be so much better. Just having Soto, Verdugo, Wells, much more balanced than last year. I really think that the pitching is going to be okay. Carlos Rodon showed up throwing 97 in camp. He looks significantly better than he did last year. I think that this is going to be a good team that will compete for the division.
Okay. Luca?
I lean 93, 94 wins. Obviously, if everything works out, when I talked about the players that needed bounce back years, if they most of them bounce back, like Rodon, as Dayne just mentioned. Obviously, Dayne just mentioned that his Rodon's velocity is up as opposed to last year, which is a good sign. But I'm leaning 93, 94 wins. Obviously the Yankees finished off with 82 last year. I think they're inclined to be in the early 90s in terms of wins. Doesn't mean they can't go over or under.
Okay. I'm going to split. I think Sean said 95 and Dayne said 97. I'm going to go in the middle here, and I'm going to say 96. There's no such thing as half wins in baseball unless you're betting. But 96 wins for the New York Yankees in 2024. And then finally, to end it off, where people can find you and all that sort of good stuff, I'll start with Jimmy.
Jimmy Randazzo on Twitter, Jimmy Randazzo Show on YouTube. Shout out to my guy Joe. I think he just won a T-shirt for all his comments this thing. No, but I appreciate everybody for watching and following. And obviously, I was just trying to fire the people up before. So appreciate you guys and love the work that you guys do over here. Fun time.
Definitely hit that subscribe button, folks. But also, again, follow these gentlemen. Sean.
Well, before I get to myself, I first off, you gotta follow everybody else. Everybody on here is fantastic. Obviously, I've been friends with the Twins for what's it been now, since 2008.
We're coming up on
16 years we've been friends. So obviously them, Jimmy, I'm a big fan. I remember when you went viral at the playoff game. You were in the New York Post. I remember how cool that was. I recognize that guy. I've seen him on social media. I thought that was amazing. And Dayne, I've always been a huge fan of the minor league systems. I feel like they don't get enough attention. So I love your account because not many people go as in-depth as you do. And that's what makes your account so much fun to follow. So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. So again, give these guys follows before you get to me. But you can find me on socials at Sean_Cacaro7. I'm an SEAN. And if you're interested in following my new show with my co-host Vinny Mascol, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify, SNV Sports. And you can find our social media account on Instagram, also SNV Sports.
Okay. Dayne.
I'm at DMH0726 on Twitter. We have a show on NYYU, the Farm Report with Carlos from Yankees Farm. And then I jump on with Pete a couple times a week. So you can come see us at NYYU.
Okay. Luca, if you would like to add anything. Because I'll be doing all the coverage here. But
yeah, of course, you guys are all awesome. Every member of the panel except Alex. But follow Jimmy, follow Sean, follow Dayne as well. They all do a great job with their stuff. Thank you to the chat for coming out. I'm optimistic for baseball season, and that's not because I was beaten over the head with a golf club by my football team, but that's go Yankees, go Yankees.
Thank God football season's over, right?
I mean, all of our teams gravely disappointed again. But I'm going to say thank you to Jimmy and Dayne first for coming on here. I made sure to play because I tried getting an off-season panel just to recap the off-season, and that was tough as shit. And I'm like, you know what? I got to plan this like 2 months in advance. So I decided to contact Jimmy. I decided to contact Dayne because he knows the prospects like the back of his hand. And of course, I knew Sean would be part of the ride, and also he's doing his own show. And then obviously, I got to have Luca on here. But I appreciate the chat. I know there was some wildness going on, in the chat. But I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all the good stuff. We got more content coming out through the week. Follow these gentlemen. If you don't, there's a special place on the Book of Wonder for you, as John would say. Or I'll pull out a wrestling reference or the list, as Sean used to
Chris Jericho's
back in the day. Again, lots of Senior Bowl interviews we did when we were down there at Mobile, Alabama. So definitely check those out. But appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you later.